All right, we got to go back to back. I just finished the Metal Gear review. Now we're going to talk about Ghost of Yotei. I know I'm late as shit. Now, also, it's relevant because we just seen the Game of the Year award nomination, and this is not on there. I'm not surprised it wasn't on there. We could talk a little bit about why, but here we go. Ghost of Yotei. Should you buy or play the game? Let's talk about it.
This will be the end of the Onyo and her brother.
I didn't come this far to die on a beach.
Fire!
Story. All right. Just full disclosure. I know I know a lot of people are pushing to continue Jin's story from Ghost of Tsushima, but this does take place 300 years after. Jin is long gone. Their motivations are entirely different too. So we're using Atsu on this, and this whole story is basically a story of revenge versus Jin, who is, a lord basically trying to protect his people.
Who are you? You live, little wolf.
The question is going to come down to who likes Jin more, who prefers Jin over Atsu. I think that's going to be more of where the conversation goes for a lot of people. But overall, it is a good story. Now, I preferred Jin's story more. I just want to say that out front. So I do like Atsu's story, but I do think Jin's story was better. And I also felt like I was a little more connected with Jin because of, that was my first experience with this game, and just because of the nature of his story. All right, let's talk graphics. So if you get a good look at comparison videos are a better way for people to see how the graphics are on the game, especially when compared to the last one. So this game does look better than Ghost of Tsushima. There are a couple things from that video though that I noticed. One of the things is that when Jin is passing through grass and foliage, there's a little bit of mechanics and physics, but it's not like great. But on Ghost of Yotei, it's actually a little bit worse. It doesn't really move much as she's walking through the grass. But visually, the game does look really good, especially when you get out to the open fields, when you see all the grass and all the flowers. And like the wind mechanics really do a lot for the graphics and the immersion of the game, because everything, all the trees and everything, they kind of move with the wind mechanics, which is what you use to figure out where you're supposed to go on the map. So it does look really good. Some good physics as far as the interacting with the water, and then if you roll around in mud and things like that, it will cover your outfit. There's a crazy scene on there where she goes absolutely insane, and then she is fucking covered in blood or whatever. I'm gonna try to show that on the screen when I can.
Oh, that blood. It's not mine. You killed them all? Go.
But it's not like, I think, again, unfortunately, like, we're not seeing major leaps gen to gen anymore. I feel like it's going to take 2 to 3 generations to really see graphical leaps. The game really does. I think games look great. I don't know what it is, but like snowy mechanics are always they always look better than like deserts and dry areas on games and stuff like that. I don't know what the reason for that is, but it does look good, and you know, the mechanics wise, it does have some flaws that we'll get into a little bit later, but I put that more on the gameplay side.
And who are you supposed to be?
It's the swordsmith's daughter!
I want to establish that this is an improvement over Ghost of Tsushima in the gameplay side, 100%. Almost everything is an improvement over the original game as far as the gameplay and the combat goes. Now, there are some things that I did not like in Ghost of Tsushima that are still in this game. We'll get to those a little bit later on. But I will say the difference between Jin and Atsu is Jin seemed to be, he had a little more finesse, a little bit more defensive at times, versus Atsu, who's really like more offensive and kind of just looking at like wear the enemies down a little bit. And on the original Ghost game, you had different stances. So it was basically all katana based for that game versus this game, which you get multiple different weapons. And it's like more of a game of rock, paper, scissors on this game. So in the original game, you know, you wanted to use the right stance versus the right enemy types. It's basically like that on here, but it's different weapons. You have your katana, which is your universal weapon. You can't really go wrong without it. But then you have the dual wields. Then you have spears. You have the shield and the axe. You have all these different things, and they all have benefits over the other enemy's weapon type. So once you see certain enemies, you see the weapon they're using, you want to use a weapon that counters there, because you'll do more damage. You'll be able to do more stun damage and things like that to be able to take them down. So also in terms of armor, like any other game, you can put together insane builds on here using the charm system, which those are just perks. You find charms all over the map. You get charms from doing side quests. You apply these charms that can sometimes be upgradable by doing certain stuff. It'll tell you, oh, get 50 kills, blah, 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 and then it'll upgrade your charm for you. Or find other collectibles, and if you find additional collectibles, it'll also upgrade those. You put those on, it gives you a whole bunch of different types of armor and different builds you could use. I'm sure y'all can hop on YouTube, find some OPS classes, but I did have to switch my builds depending on the area I was in, the level, the enemies I was dealing with, and the bosses. So I was using like two to four different builds along the game. There's all kind of stuff. There's special armor that have special perks on it as well. And the armor could also be upgraded. I will say there's also firearms on here, so you do get like a quick gun. Now whatever you have, the enemies have, so these motherfuckers will shoot you and you will be pissed, because the warning that a gun is about to shoot you, it is not, you don't get a lot of time, bro. Yeah, I'm telling you, when you see that red flash, it's like playing Call of Duty.
I don't want this.
Damn, why would they let him start off like that?
And I want my brother back! You made sure that will never happen!
All right, is it? Bro, this game, dog. As soon as you see that sniper glitch, you're done. On this game, and I'm telling you, it is fast. The delay between that red shot, that red glint for the unblockable, and that gunfire is going to let you know. So you have that, and then you have the flintlock rifle as well. Now, there is some armor that I should have used more to help you, block bullets and stuff like that. And that's another thing. There's definitely certain sections you're going to have to put certain gear on to help you. Or you're going to be like me and just make the game that section harder than it has to be. But also, you have a companion. I'm not going to tell you what the companion is, but the companion is very much a part of the game. They will join you on some of your standoffs. Standoffs are fire. They always will be. You come up. You can choose to be stealthy if you want. The stealth is basically the same as it was in the last game as far as how the AI works, stuff like that. So you can take down a bunch of enemies. You can be stealthy about it. Or you could say, fuck this, man. You go in there and you could tell everybody I'm here, what's up. Y'all can get some standoffs. And if you upgrade your skill trees, which there are several, it'll make things a lot easier. You can take down multiple enemies during standoffs. So not only do you have skill trees for basic abilities, you have skill trees for your horse, and you also have skills for each individual weapon. I did platinum this game. I had a ton of hours on this game. I I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head how many hours I had, but I know I had to have at least 70, maybe more. I'm not sure. Also, you have gadgets. A lot of these weapons and gadgets are optional. There's side quests, there's smoke bombs, there's poison bombs, there's all kinds of stuff. And like I said, whatever you have, the enemies, some of them even have it as well. The enemies will throw dirt in your eyes and stuff like that. And once they throw dirt in your eyes, it's very hard to see when they're doing their blue attacks. I do have to say, you have your basic attacks that the enemies do that you can dodge or parry. There's a perfect dodge, there's a perfect parry. The windows, once you're on harder difficulties, is not very big. I should have stated that I played on the hardest difficulty, and I do not recommend it. It's rage-inducing. A lot of times you play games on hardest difficulty, it doesn't really allow you to play the game necessarily the way it was meant to be played. You have to find workarounds and cheesy stuff to get around the bullshit the CPU's doing. Those blue attacks, the timing is not consistent, so you don't always know. You know what I mean? They can show you a blue attack to prepare you, and it could be a really slow attack. It could be a really fast attack. You really don't know. So you really have to learn a lot of the enemies' movements and get their patterns down. And it could take quite a while. I definitely had some moments where I lost my fucking mind fighting on this game.
Stop this and tell me where my brother is!
Why? You abandoned him to kill the dragon!
And that was...
Man, look how far he just moved across the fucking screen! If you plan on lethal, you already know what time it is, bro. It's a challenge, and it's so frustrating because this is one of those games where you learn over time. You keep getting your ass whooped, but you learn a little bit more each time. And you're like, yo, I can get him. And you finally figure it, like, you got all the timing down. And then what happens, bro? The bosses, sometimes they either do a move that they weren't doing at all, or they change the order of things, and you feel like you have to relearn everything. So sometimes when I'm fighting some of these bosses, and I'm getting whooped for 30 or 40 minutes, I'm just like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And I was like, I kind of need a little bit of luck and hope that the moves in the order that I'm used to is what they do. Other than that, I'm telling you, they hit you 2-3 times. It just felt like you needed to almost be perfect when you're playing on lethal. You also need to get as many health and adrenaline upgrades as you possibly can, because it is definitely tough. They also did carry over the bounty system from the first game. And some of these bounties do come with some storylines and stuff like that. In some cases, you actually don't kill the bounties, but you still can turn them in. It kind of really depends on kind of how you want to play the game. But I will say on the Ghost of Tsushima, in terms of just side quests, I felt a little bit more compelled to play those, and I felt a little bit more attached to those characters in those side quests and those storylines and those side quests than on this game. But I did platinum the game, so I thoroughly played this game, start to finish, and I did everything. As far as the enemy types, it's not much of a difference, from the first game. I mean, it was pretty generic, you know what I mean? There's a handful of different enemies. They don't really have like a signature or unique look. And, even on the first game, when those archers yelled out, Dasho, or whatever, you know what I mean? That like counted for something. I will tell you on here, if you're playing on lethal, you better prepare yourself to deal with archers that can kill you from anywhere while you're dealing with the other enemies. They're quite fucking annoying, but they're there, and it's a challenge that you want to take on, then you do that. But I do not recommend that. In terms of other stuff that you could do around the map, they do have the shrines, or you have to like figure out how to traverse like a crazy area through platforming and using your grapple hook and things like that. So that remains on here. There's plenty of collectibles and all that kind of stuff that you can go after. You can get that kind of stuff if you kind of want to, see the world, or you can not do any of this. But there's a optional side boss in the mountains that I did not actually show. I didn't record that, dude. God bless you. I'm telling you, just don't say I didn't warn you, bro. Oh my God, what he was doing was insane. What they was allowing this dude to do to me. You also still have your foxes that you can follow around. You have the golden bird that can help you locate stuff that you're having a hard time finding. You have your instrument that you can play that can guide you to other collectibles and things like that. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it. I might have, but like the gadgets are very, very helpful. You're going to need those, and you'll need to kind of spam as many of those as you can, but the CPU will do the same thing to you. So just be prepared for that. But all in all, like I said, it is an improvement. You could customize your stuff. You have your different armor dyes and things like that. But this is it's Ghost of Tsushima 2.0, which I do want to say people are fucking goofy. It looks like the last game. Sequels are going to be similar to the last game. What is it with people on the internet who think a sequel is going to be an entirely new game? If you do that to the fan base, they're not going to be, it's going to be ass. We need the core game to be the same. We need improvements and a new story. And when you have enough time in between, people still get excited because you waited 2, 3, 4, 5 years. If you put a game out every year, it's not going to feel new. But if you wait a few years, see, everybody loved Batman for years, bro. And it looks the same. You kidding me? The Batman games are amazing, but this is what people do. They go to the internet and say stupid shit. Like as if a sequel, I understand that some sequels are way too close to the last one. But the idea that a sequel is going to be a completely different game is insane to me. But whatever, that's where we are. Rant's over.
Do you think I enjoy setting fire to children? I am a general, a war hero. I should be on a battlefield, not repairing this rotting and molding castle for someone else.
All right, this isn't going to be too long, but things I wish I knew a little bit sooner. Well, for one thing, I did not use the cooking feature enough. So when you're at your camp, when you rest anywhere, you set up camp, you're actually able to cook some food, and then it'll give you some buffs, some stat buffs. I didn't really use it a lot until the end of the game. Now, the buff lasts for one in-game day, which could be good. You're able to get just something a little bit extra for you to fight. It could be for your ranged attacks. It could be, for your damage received. It could be for any number of things. It's kind of randomized, but you all should be using that a little bit more. Another thing that I did not know is that when you run into some NPCs, they give you the locations of stuff on the map. What I didn't know is if you get the first location from that person, you can hurry up and reload your save, your fast travel, and they can go back and give you more. And I think you can do it like 2 or 3 times and actually get more than you were supposed to get. So I did not know that. Also, make sure you guys are using your shamisen songs to guide you to different items and things like that. It's an easy way for you to locate bamboo strikes and all kinds of stuff like that otherwise you wouldn't get. That way you don't have to pull up. I mean, you can pull up a map on Google and find all the stuff, or you could just use that to help the wind guide you, and it might be right next to you. Sometimes you're really close to stuff and you just cannot for the life of you locate where it is. Play the song, it'll turn that on. Another thing, if you're having issues with that gold coin flicking game, go into the accessibility settings. I'm dead serious. And you turn on, there's a visual aid that'll show you how far the coin will go when you flick it to help you with that shit. Because fuck that game. How about that? There's also other settings in there if you want to use, if you're having trouble. The wind can actually turn the camera to guide you in the direction you're supposed to go. There's other stuff like that. Don't say I didn't tell you nothing.
You may be a stray, but you are not without teeth.
Thank you.
An impressive display.
Your man might disagree.
You won't be popular at dinner, but you've more than earned your place. They won't try anything.
Okay, real quick, my likes. And these are more quality of life than anything. This game has an amazing fast travel system. Any landmark you go to, any collectible you find, you will be able to fast travel back to that place very quickly. Any bamboo strikes, I mean, like anywhere you go, there's fast travel locations all over the place. Y'all might not give a shit, but I do. I play Red Dead Redemption 2. The fast travel system on that game is the rim of that ass because it's annoying. There's other games. People defend games having no fast travel or bad fast travel. Y'all got it, bro. I'm gonna be honest. And then there's the games that make you watch the character travel to the location. You have to physically watch them, even though you pick the fast option. Not a fan of that either. This game doesn't do that to you. You can get back and forth. And for people that love to explore, you still have that because you're going to, like I said, climb the mountaintops to get to the shrines and pray and all of that stuff is still there. Secondly, quick firing your gadgets when you're fighting is a big deal. I've always referenced Batman for that. I don't like to always have to pull up weapon wheels when I'm playing games if I'm in the middle of a combat sequence. To be able to just have gadgets ready to go with shortcuts to get to those, to throw your smoke bombs, to throw your poison and all that stuff without leaving and having to pull up a wheel that then slows you down and takes you out of the fight is a W. I mentioned the sidekick. I actually love the sidekick. They join you on your duels. They join you with stealth, dual takedowns, and all that kind of stuff. Is really good. And lastly, merchants come to sometimes join you when you go to your campfire, which is kind of cool. That way you can just buy stuff right there without having to go all the way back to like a homestead and then get stuff. So other than that, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The game is it's just a better version of the last game in a lot of ways, and they just kind of continued on with that kind of stuff. And a lot of the criticisms about the first game they had, but we're going to talk about dislikes because some of the stuff is still here.
Took your time coming home.
Someone with a grudge is picking off members of our old gang. Not exactly something to rush back to.
So you were afraid?
Forgive us, Father. There is no excuse.
Alright, this is where people start acting like bitches. Dislikes. Alrighty. I already know some people want to say, alright, first of all, I love the game. Alright. I should have said that at the beginning and then did the review. But whatever, man. However, the game has flaws. Most games have flaws. Almost every game has flaws. It might just be me. Okay. I'm playing on lethal. So all of my annoyances are compounded in terms of combat because it's a pain in the ass to get your ass whooped. Something that kind of is unfair. Unfairness in the fights, man. It was in the first Ghost of Tsushima. Okay. The way the computer, the AI, slide across that ground and cover 70 feet in one animation, turn and do the exorcism with their necks and hit you is outrageous, bro. The tracking on the computer's attacks is bullshit. You're not going to convince me otherwise. I don't give a fuck about what you're talking about. It's outrageous, bro. Just look at their feet. I'm dead serious, bro. Sometimes you're going to lose, if you're playing on lethal, you're going to lose your mind because you see the person coming and they just like slide so far. It's not even humanly possible. I know it's a video game, but y'all let him do that to me? They slide and magnetize and y'all. It's like, yo, come on, bro. I don't like that. It's cheap. You get a lot of cheap deaths like that on there. All right. And like I mentioned, this may not be a dislike depending on who you are, but the blue attacks, they're a troll. Yes, you can learn the attack patterns, but personally, one of my worst flaws as a gamer is really slow attacks get me like almost every time. If you ever see me play Elden Ring or any of those games, if the AI is getting ready to do a really slow attack, I'm so used to having to dodge quickly that when the slow attack comes, it feels forever. I get antsy. I push the button. The blue attacks could do that to me, or they could do a blue attack that's really fast. You kind of don't know. You get an idea, but it's not like there's not like a timing mechanism to kind of help you know the timing of all the attacks, because it could, the blue attack doesn't mean they're going to attack right away. There could be a delay. Typically, when you see the enemy turn a color in the game, the attack follows right after. On this game, I'm just letting you know, don't be surprised. You're going to be, if y'all playing on hard difficulties, God bless you. I'm telling you, don't say I didn't warn you. I told your ass. Secondly, what do I have? I did have invisible coins on the mini game. I'm sure it's been patched, but I couldn't play the game. I couldn't play that mini game for that round. Oh, this is big for me. You might not care. We're in an era where you like to keep things fresh. So being able to change the look of your character and your companions is a must. Okay? Some of these games wouldn't even be what they were without the ability to do that. Do you think Fortnite would be what Fortnite is if they didn't have all those skins that you can buy and you just all had the like same 5 skins? No, it wouldn't. A lot of times the skins, they don't really change the gameplay, but they change the look. We like to see things, change. So there are lots of different pieces of gear and masks and things, most of which aren't really that interesting looking to me personally. So I didn't really use that many of them. Lots of different hats. lots of different armors, and as you upgrade the armor, it changes the look. But you may have liked how your armor looked the first tier, because the more you upgrade it, the more cumbersome it looks, and the more like pieces is on that bitch. Also, maybe you want the benefits of this armor, but you like the look of that armor. I like the Shinobi armor, the black kind. It looked cool as shit, but it wasn't great for the ending of the game, so I couldn't use it. But I would have loved to look like that while I had on the real armor. So there's something called transmog. Transmogging in video games. This is some nerdy shit, bro. All right, I need to put my glasses on and do that. But transmogging on games allows you to wear whatever armor you want, but get the look of another armor. Very common thing. Assassin's Creed actually uses it. I wish this game had that, and it didn't. So, you know, you might like the way the armor, kind of how it works, but you may not like the way it looks. You know what I mean? And you can't change it. I wish they had that. It's not the biggest deal. It doesn't really affect gameplay, but it does affect immersion a little bit, just because I like looking at my character. It's third person, baby. Come on, talk to me. Can't see a list of completed missions. Ass as fuck. For people trying to platinum the game and people trying to be able to unlock certain stuff, you need to figure out what missions you've done already, and you can't. There's not a list unless they patch this in. I'm telling you my experience. They may have patched this in recently, but I didn't have a list of completed missions. That's industry standard for you to be able to pause your game and get a list of the missions you've already completed. Because what happens is there was a mission I was supposed to be doing, and I couldn't get it to trigger, and I couldn't figure out why. And it said that I needed to do this other mission, and I thought I did it, but I wasn't sure because I couldn't look. That's not cool. I think lastly, last thing I had on here was I mentioned this a little bit, but this is me. Kind of wish when you were pulling up your weapon wheel that time would slow just briefly for a minute while you pick your new weapon. I'm playing on lethal. Sometimes I'm trying to switch weapons and I'm not getting the one I want, and like I just get beasted by a blue attack. I got beasted. It is what it is. Anyway, that's my dislikes. Yeah. That's what I don't like. Right there. That's bullshit. If I perfect dodge and he's stunned, I don't know why he's able to then continue his combo. That's bullshit. Alright, final verdict. Should you buy Ghost of Yōtei? Let's figure that out right now. First of all, the game, I really loved it. Loved it. Yes. I said it 10 times because people hear what they want to hear. Here's the thing. If you've not played Ghost of Tsushima, see me, I like to save people money and I like to save money. I would encourage you to play Ghost of Tsushima first. Figure it out if you want, if you like that, and then get this, because to me, on the gameplay side, this is a better version of Ghost of Tsushima. Almost in every conceivable way on the gameplay, the mechanics, and all the new stuff they had. Now, story-wise, you may have a different opinion. I think I like Ghost of Tsushima story better. In fact, that was my game of the year in 2020 over The Last of Us 2, which I was like, whoa, how did that win? But Ghost of Yotei is not my game of the year this year. I do at that time with Ghost of Tsushima was up against, I thought was better than. I don't feel that way this time. I predicted 5 out of the 6 nominations for game of the year because I already know what it was. And they're really good games, some of which y'all should check out if you have not. But once again, I think Expedition 33 is going to wipe the floor. So, Ghost of Tsushima, you could probably get on PlayStation Premium, or it's going to be extremely discounted because the game is 5 years old. Then figure out whether or not you want to play Ghost of Yotei. Other than that, let me know if Ghost of Yotei is actually your game of the year, which it very well may be. I respect it. I was saying objectively, for me, I didn't think it was going to be nominated. Or if it was, I knew it certainly wouldn't win. Let me know your opinions. I do respect your opinions, but just don't be an asshole because we will get you out the way, bro. We do not play it over here. Until next time, I will see y'all for the Death Stranding 2 interview review, which I'm going to take a quick break and then I'm going to do. Okay, bye.